Hello, everybody. My name is Afro X, and I'm about to do a totally real reaction to the first episode of Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix. Um, Give me a moment here to grab my glasses. All right. As I said a second ago, I am here to do a completely real reaction to the first episode of the newest uh, anime. Just came out um, yesterday, I believe, and it is called Delicious in Dungeon on Netflix. So I'm going to check that out. First episode's called Hot Pot / Tart. So let's see what we've got. A Netflix series. Original work by Ryoko Kui.
It all began in a tiny village. One day, the ground shook and the floor of the catacombs split. From the fissure emerged a man. He claimed to rule the Golden Country, which vanished 1,000 years ago. The land had prospered, he said, until a mad mage cast a spell that sunk it deep underground.
Okay, so this is by Trigger.
I shall bestow my kingdom to whomever defeats the mage, he cried. Then the man turned to dust and blew away.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Stand fast. This dragon should be no problem for us. Get him! With our skills, we can't lose. Although, I'm really hungry. Heck, everyone seems a bit sluggish. There was a mistake on our map, so we wasted a day getting here. Then we lost 3 days of food in the trap we fell into. After we slay this dragon, we'll have to go back for more supplies. What's with her? Did she get hit with a confusion spell? Huh? No way. We came all this way just to fail?
Thank goodness. That was close. We'd all be dragon food if it weren't for that spell. Speaking of, have you seen Fallon?
She got eaten.
What?
The spell couldn't reach her in the dragon's stomach.
Oh no.
The dragon's sleeping now. I'll go back for her.
Hey, wait a second. We're broke. When we teleported, all of our inventory was left behind. All except the gear on our backs.
What?
I've got some more bad news for you.
You're talking.
See, one of our party members just decided to quit.
What?
They've been getting offers from another party for a while now.
Jeez. Raiding dungeons takes money. The cost of party members, gear, and food can get expensive. Let's say we sold all the gear we have on us. That give us enough cash to buy cheaper gear, a little food, some medicine, a few daily essentials, and hire a couple more party members. What do you think?
Not even.
By the time we figure this out, my sis will be digested. You can come.
You know, this is very like D&D-ish. Like I could definitely tell somebody who plays D&D, maybe even a dungeon master, was in the writing for this anime, because they're going real in depth on the specifics. Like I wouldn't even DM this hard.
Back from being chewed to pieces, right? Wasn't someone resurrected after being pooped out?
Not that I heard of.
Financial problems aside, we need to find something to eat. We almost died today because we were so hungry after all. Now then, where to eat? If we want something really cheap, there's the public dining hall. The Laughing Wolf Tavern has bigger portions, though. Oh, but that place has a fantastic menu. They make a soup with meat dumplings that's to die for.
No. I have to go back to the dungeon.
But you need to eat.
Here's the plan. I want the two of you to leave the party.
What?
I'll take your gear and sell it, and raid the dungeon by myself.
No, that's a horrible plan.
Get killed.
Listen, this way I won't have to downgrade my armor. And if I'm alone, I can avoid monsters and get back to that floor faster. It's totally doable. Besides, this was all my fault. I don't want to risk your lives, too.
I'm going back there with you. You're not the only one who cares about Fallon. I would do anything to save her. I'm not going to slow you down, and a powerful magic user like me will come in handy.
My skills are nothing to sneeze at either.
Right off the bat, I want to say I really like how they're not doing too much exposition in this. Like, they get to the point. They're like, this is the plot, this is what's happening, and you are in the stuff now.
You never know when you'll need a trap disarmed or a door unlocked.
You guys are the best. Are you absolutely, positively sure you want to come? Even though you face death?
Yeah?
We're going
Even
to
though
get
you'll
all of
face
our food
death?
from the dungeon. This place is full of monsters, right? So then, the dungeon has to have an ecosystem in it. The carnivorous monsters eat the monsters that are herbivores. And the herbivore monsters eat plants, which need water, light, and dirt to grow. Thus, we humanoids can sustain ourselves in the dungeon too.
So that's it then. We're really eating monsters?
Yep, every meal. Think about all of our adventures up to now. Some of those monsters were tasty looking, remember?
No, they weren't. Are you insane?
There are lots of people here who hunt monsters for food.
Sure, and they're all criminals who've been banished down here. They're always sick from food poisoning and blowing chunks from both ends.
Well, you did say you'd do anything to save poor Fallon.
I didn't say I eat monsters.
We don't have money for food. What else can we do?
Right, but if we eat something weird and get food poisoning, we could all die from that. Why do they keep letting noobs down here? If they're that scared of walking mushrooms, they should stay out. Let us know. No.
I think we just found our lunch.
That's gross! Ew, no, I don't wanna!
How do you know that they say for us to eat?
The Dungeon Gourmet Guide says so. It's a basic ingredient, actually. They're supposed to be meaty with a mild flavor.
Gourmet guide?
Looks like it's been read a lot.
Let's find a more
Meaty with a mild flavor. Okay, so not only was there like a DM on the writer's staff, but definitely at least someone who's seen Food Wars, Shokugeki no Shisoma, or they might have had an actual chef on the writing staff for this, but we'll see.
in space and build a fire. Wish we had a few more ingredients, though. Hear that scuttling? That's a scorpion!
I've lost my appetite.
Even though we are in a dungeon, this section is always bustling with adventurers and merchants. It used to be the catacombs where the villagers' ancestors were laid to rest. 6 years ago, it was connected to the dungeon proper and has become quite the busy location. They say monsters come from the bottom of the dungeon. Are they creatures from the surface, transformed by dark magic, or are they from the bowels of hell? No one knows for sure. Either way, they look strange and attack without hesitation, as if they were protecting something. If these monsters can exist deep below the dungeon floor, so too could the Golden Country.
You caught it like a crayfish.
That's how it's done, and actually it's easier than a crayfish.
Hey, you're a little too into this. Is eating monsters some kind of weird fantasy of yours?
Saving my poor sister is the only thing on my mind.
Sure it is.
All right, I admit it. I do love monsters. I love how they look, how they sound, how they live, and I always wondered how they taste.
He's a psychopath. Do we have to cook this right here? Everyone's staring at us.
But we need the water, and it's just a few steps away.
All right, how do we cook it?
I was thinking we could boil it.
What happened?
It's easy to cut vertically, but cutting across is hard. That means diagonal and horizontal slashes will have little effect on walking mushrooms. I learned something new.
It looks more like food now that it's sliced.
No, it doesn't. Hold on! You're cooking the whole thing? Aren't they poisonous?
The venom from it won't hurt us if we eat it.
Are you sure?
Yep, the guide says it's totally safe to eat.
Uh-huh. I knew it.
Excuse me, folks.
So there's a guide to cooking monsters, but but the thought of even eating monsters at all is disgusting to most of the people in this. That's what I don't get. If eating monsters is disgusting, why is there a guide to eating monsters? That's my first question.
A scorpion hot pot, eh? Can't say I agree with your method.
Who are you?
These have to be prepared for cooking. You have to chop up the pincers, head, legs, and tail. Especially the tail. Gives you the run something fierce.
But the guide said it was safe to eat.
You won't die, but it tastes like ass. Next, you have to slice the sucker up so it heats even and the juices can seep out. This way you get all the flavor. It's easy to eat this way. Then you pull out the innards like so. They're bitter and the texture's all wrong. As for the walking mushrooms, skin it and lose the butt. Save the feet and throw them in the pot. They're delish.
The feet taste good, huh?
Yep. Take a whip. Unique, ain't it?
Mushroom foot sniffer.
Your pot's not big enough, though. So, we'll use
Mushroom foot sniffer may be the insult I'm going to be using for like the next year. Mushroom foot sniffer. It's up there.
You're weirdly prepared.
It'll be bland with just a scorpion and mushroom. Have this.
Hold on! You can't put those in!
Why not?
There's no way I'm eating that! You see those? Those are corpses! I'll eat a monster if I have to, but not plants from a graveyard! Tell him this tastes great on its
Marcel!
own! Who the hell are you anyway? What? The slime! No, it's covering my face. I can't cast my spells now. The first time I ever died was because a slime got me.
Are you okay?
Doing great. A little got up my nose, though.
Hold up. She said the first time I died. So, we've now established that characters in this world can die multiple times and come back to life. Well, no, I suppose we had already established it because they talked about resurrecting. So she must have died to a slime and then been resurrected, which is impressive considering that in actual D&D, being resurrected takes a lot, like a lot, like an entire journey searching for something a lot. But anyways, let's keep going.
Use my hanky.
I had no idea you could kill those with a knife.
It's easy if you know how its organs are laid out. Sure, it looks like a globby ooze, but it's actually not that different from a humanoid. This here is how the organs of a slime are arranged. Compared to a human's anatomy, it's like if you turned your stomach inside out and surrounded your head and organs with digestive fluid. They can sense your breath and like to attack when you exhale. That's why if you shout or pitch a fit like the good lady here, you get slimed. You can't eat these raw. You first have to wash it with hot water and a splash of citrus juice. Then you can either pat it dry or rub some salt on it and let it dry in the sun. After that, you got yourself one high-quality ingredient. If you can, starve them for 2 weeks, then dry it. I promise the taste is worth the wait. By the way, this is a portable slime dryer I made myself. Just lock it in there like so, and it'll dry out nicely as you're walking around. It'll be a while before that one's good. But this one's ready to go. We'll add it to your pot.
Thanks, but can you spare it?
Sure. You don't know how happy I am to have found someone else who's as into monster food as I am. I've been studying the monsters in here and how to cook them up for over 10 years now.
10 years?
Has this dungeon been around for that long?
I'll have this ready in a bit.
I gotta say, dried slime does not sound like the most appetizing thing in the world, so I'll at least give the girl that point. Also, because of how fast the plot is going here, I'm not really able to keep track of what people's names are, and maybe that's okay, because I feel like the characters' names in this aren't really that important. Moving on.
It's ready.
So huge scorpions turn red when boiled.
This turned out better than the recipe looked in the guide.
This shouldn't smell as good as it does.
Cook it long enough and the heat shrinks the meat in the shell. Makes it easier to pull out.
You're right. It's good!
I know, isn't it?
The preparation totally changed the flavor.
I know, didn't it?
It tastes so good.
I know, doesn't it?
Alright, let me try it! What are these?
Dried slime innards.
So good!
I never thought a slime could taste like this.
They're amazing soaked in fruit juice, too.
Those yummy roots you put in are nice and fluffy.
Technically, those aren't roots. They're the stems of a plant that grows upside down in the dungeon.
This algae is soft and delicious too. Is this something that also grows here?
Nah, that's just plain old algae. You find it wherever it's dank.
All this time, and I never knew this dungeon had so much yummy stuff in it. Ugh, I'm stuffed.
Perhaps now's a good time for introductions.
Yes, of course. My name's Senshi. It means seeker in Dwarvish.
My name's Laios.
Okay, good. They're actually going to get to names now.
That's Marcel the Mage, and Shochuk the Piglock.
Something tells me
Okay.
we are on a mission.
Laios, Marcel,
I'm
Chilchuk,
one of the lower
and
levels. A
Senshi.
member of our party got eaten by a monster. We have to save her before she's digested.
I'm sorry.
Okay, this was the trailer.
Which monster?
A dragon with crimson scales.
Crimson scales on a lower level. That's a red dragon. I hear dragons mostly sleep because they're so big and need to conserve their energy. Your digestion should be slower than other monsters.
I sure hope that's true.
Please, would you allow me to join your party?
Sure, if you'd like to. Actually, you'd be a great help to us.
I would. Fantastic. Thanks so much.
No, thank you.
For years now, I dreamed of cooking one of those red dragons. I have so many recipes in mind. Steaks or hamburgers are classic and easy enough. Ooh, shabu shabu would be amazing too. As long as we have enough eggs.
Is it right to eat what ate one of us? The thought crossed everyone's minds then, but no one said anything. The second floor. Here, strange vistas stretched before them, unlike the village's musty catacombs on the first floor. Scholars say this is the tallest tower of the Golden Castle, stretching up from deep below.
These trees are so tall, and I always wonder.
Okay, hold on.
Through to the surface.
So, okay, so this dungeon is pretty vast. So this is probably about the size of the dungeon in Familia Myth, also, or better known as "Is It Okay to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?" Which, in fact, a lot of time in Familia Myth, it wasn't spent in the dungeon. But anyways, so it's hard to get around the idea sometimes that in fantasy dungeons, there can be like entire forests and giant places, and sometimes it's even big enough for there to be an atmosphere and there'll be sky in there. And so seeing buildings and houses in a dungeon, it's jarring, knowing that this looks like the outside but really is deep underground. But let's continue.
Maybe the curse on this place won't let me.
You okay there, Marcel?
Yeah, my foot got stuck on a plank.
We've been walking a while now. We should rest. Let's find a place to set up camp and get some sleep.
The Marcel girl is very ditzy, and I think a lot of anime watchers would say she's annoying. She's very much being a Sakura, or a Sakura of this anime.
Hey, do you remember that time we spent the night here in one of the hollowed out trees?
Yeah, I do.
I made pork soup and got burned so bad.
Are you hungry? I got some of that scorpion broth from lunch if you want.
No thanks.
Oh, I know. We should hunt us a monster for our lunch. What would you like to eat instead, then? If you're craving something, I'll try making that.
That's nice of you to offer, but it's gonna have monster in it, right? As long as it's edible, I'm fine with whatever.
What kind of monsters appear around here again?
Well, big bats and giant rats.
Takes the book out of his breastplate. Okay. Makes sense. A bit effeminate thing to do, but I mean, it's 2024. Who am I to judge?
Eating unhygienic things?
Forest goblins.
Same with demi-humans.
Living armor.
Metal. That's it? There's nothing normal? Aren't there birds or fruit?
Oh my god. First you say I'm fine with anything, then hate whatever we suggest. You're that type.
What? I just don't want to eat.
And Chilchuck casually calls out a great percentage of women, and kind of makes a sexist stereotype, if I'm being honest.
Gross things.
There are normal animals here, but they're docile. They have to set traps and wait. A duck isn't going to walk by carrying a green onion.
I know.
Also, I forgot what class Chilchuck
It's a
was.
dungeon, so it might have dire ducks with man-eating green onions. Now there's something fun and tasty.
I don't share your optimism for it.
Well, this time of year, there's plenty of nuts.
I'm Marcel, and I don't like anything. I hate you already. I'm sorry, but I just do.
But there are?
Actually, man-eating is just a general term for it. See that flower? Its formal name is Barasalia, and it grows along trails animals use. It produces fluid strands, like spider silk, and when a creature touches it can't digest anything, so it doesn't eat the things it catches. It uses them for fertilizer.
It can use a human for fertilizer too, then.
You know the vegetables you have no problem eating? Those grow in soil, fertilized by animal corpses and poop.
Right, but I don't have a problem eating those.
Don't freak out. We're on the second floor. A corpse retriever would have come and picked up any dead bodies by now. They check these plants all the time. This ain't the lower floors, so there's no way someone left you for fertilizer.
I don't know.
Sneaking up to pick one will be tough.
All right, then we fight it.
Step aside. I can destroy them all with one spell. Spelai Yeptum Befels. Alamandaras Proju.
Stop that, you idiot!
What? Why?
You want to destroy all the fruit, too? There's an ironclad rule here. Take only what you can eat.
Stop lecturing and help! No!
Girl is stupid. Girl is very stupid. Impressive that they did come up with a language that I've never heard for the spellcasting in this. I will point that out. Huh.
It can't digest anything, huh? It's totally digesting him!
What? Oh, well, some have digestive tracts. It depends on the species. By the way, the species that has you is parasitic. It plants its seeds under your skin.
You're not helping!
Stay as still as you can. These plant-type monsters have lots of limbs. If I took them on one at a time, we'd be here all day. I only have to attack one spot. Its root! Are you okay?
Yeah, nothing's broken.
How was it?
Huh?
Like I told you before, this species leaves its seeds under your skin. It's called a shadowtail. Unlike the Barasalia type that squeezes you till your bones break, this type needs to keep whatever it traps with its vines alive. It squeezes its prey just enough so it can't escape, but it's still relatively comfortable in its clutches, which could feel kind of cozy. Did it? I upset her again.
Yeah, you got intensely weird at the end there.
First, a light steaming. Then you cut around the stem like so. Give it a little twist. Pull, and the seeds will come right up. Next, you peel the skin off and pound it till it's nice and soft. Then line the bottom of the pan with it. Give the unripe fruit a good mashing, add a dash of slime and a bit of scorpion drop, and mix till it's good and thick. Once it's got a smooth consistency, pour in the rest of the scorpion drop and a handful of the chopped fruit. Mix it up a little bit, and pour it into the frying pan. Let it cook a bit.
I just want to see if I can grow something with this.
That's a stupid idea!
No!
And when you see it start bubbling like that, drop in the rest of the fruit. Perfect.
I'm actually wondering if they're teaching real recipes in here. Of course, like not with monster parts, but yeah. Senshi seems like he's really gonna be the explainer of all the food stuff in here. And that part's not my bag, just because I don't have a big interest in cooking. But I mean, for anyone who loves cooking, I'm sure this is very, very interesting.
It's ready.
It's a tart.
Looks like it, but it's not. The crust keeps it from burning.
I really hope this show can strike a balance. And when I say strike a balance, I mean strike a balance between it being a fantasy RPG anime and it being a cooking anime, because it's hard to make it both. I just hope that they have a balance between fighting the monsters and cooking the monsters. Um, because if they go too hard one way or another, either it's going to turn into a fantasy RPG anime and it's just going to be about the fights, or it's going to turn into a cooking anime and it's going to be just about the cooking and I'm going to lose interest.
Only that
You're not salty. I thought it tastes more sweet.
Yeah, it's good though. Go on, try it. I'm pretty sure you'll like the flavor.
You didn't make this with the plant the corpse fell out of, did you?
No, just its fruit. The gelatin from the stem of that species would have made this dish come out a whole lot better, though. It's just not firm enough with the slime.
Wow, this is really good! The fertilizer type fruit is juicy and sweet, while the digesting type fruit is savory. I bet the animals love these too. Must be hard for the plant to make enough fruit to keep up with demand. What's the point making it if it's just going to get eaten?
Well, it is a carnivorous plant. It makes fruit to attract the animals it eats to survive.
That makes sense. Then being delicious is part of the plant's strategy. How clever!
Now you see the appeal of monsters. Aren't they great?
As if! Well, what do we do about him?
We'd lose time dragging him back to town.
Maybe I can resurrect him with my magic.
Don't risk it. The spell could backfire.
If we just leave him where people can see him, he'll get picked up eventually.
That's a great idea. This works, I think.
Kind of reminds you of the gallows, doesn't it?
That night, Marcel had a nightmare. Dungeon food. Eat or be eaten. There is no hierarchy to it, just the reality that to eat is the privilege of the living. Ah, dungeon food. Delicious in dungeon.
All right, I like the narrator. I hate to say it, but I can see a lot of people who would like this. Anyone who likes Food Wars, definitely gonna like Delicious in Dungeon. It's not my bag. I'm not into cooking. I'm not into like cooking animes, stuff like that. I might tune into more of it for the RPG part, but it's too different of two things. Um, and that's going to be the difficulty in getting people to like it. Either it's going to appeal to the fantasy people who like fantasy RPGs, or it's going to appeal to the cooking people who like cooking animes. It's not going to appeal to both. And honestly, based on what I've seen in episode 1, it looks like it's going to lean much more heavily into the cooking aspect. So yeah. And I mean, like I said, some people may like it. I personally, I don't want to watch an anime where every episode is a half hour of someone reciting a recipe, with like a little bit of magic and swordplay and stuff. And that's okay. That's why we have separate animes, like Konosuba versus Shokugeki no Soma, and that's why we have those. So, like I said, I feel like Delicious in Dungeon has its work cut out for it, and it's gonna be a very difficult anime to get a lot of people uh enjoy and come together on. Um I can honestly say most people enjoy the fantasy RPG part. I think this show would be great for people who love cooking and love like fantasy RPG stuff. Like I'm sure if you've ever been like, "Hey, I want to cook some of the food from Lord of the Rings," I think that would be cool. Um and make that come to life, then this anime is definitely going to be for you. But if you're looking for an anime with like a lot of action, um, and like not many stopping points, then I think this might be one to skip over. Anyways, as for episode 1, I would give this anime a I'm gonna give it an out of 10 because it's really dependent on your taste. I can't judge it um, because it's not my taste. But anyway, that is my actual reaction to episode 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. If you want to see more of this, maybe I'll react to another new anime, something like that. Make sure to let me know in the comments below. Um, but yeah, keep YouTubing, YouTubers. Don't fight the fro. And always remember to eat monster food, I guess. And stay legendary. See you later, YouTube. Bye bye.